I think we're making it. I think we're here. I think we're real people.
Oh, well, hello, my friends. How's it going, everyone? The date today is December 15th, and it's Tuesday, which means it's time for the Nerd Frenzy podcast, everyone.
Yeah, it is. I'm into it. Let's fucking go.
It felt good. It felt good.
It felt right. It felt really good. It felt really right. Big fan.
So, as you guys all know, my trusted little sidekick,
Ayo.
the one that wrestles with bears in his dreams, the one that once karate chopped Bruce Lee, who actually was a 3-year-old boy. Brent Parker. Everyone.
It was a very strong 3-year-old boy, and he definitely had it coming. All right, and that's the podcast. We are officially off the air, and that's all it took. One child abuse allegation, and we are off here. Nick, how you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing great, my friend. It's been snowing like crazy over here, so me being a meter reader, I've been walking with big old snow boots and going in people's backyards and getting bit by dogs. So
that just sounds fucking awful. I'm glad I'm not doing that. That sounds actually genuinely unpleasant. It just started snowing again today. I thought it was gonna be a fucking nightmare today because we were supposed to get a fuckload of snow. Maybe we'll get some tonight. I don't know, but we're supposed to get a boatload today, and it was a day we had to move a whole bunch of equipment from one branch to another. So I spent a lot of time outside, a lot more than I normally do, and I bundled up like an absolute 80-year-old. I wore a huge puffy coat, dude. I had gloves. I had a hat. I hate being cold so much that I will look like the dorkiest, most ridiculous dork. I don't care as long as I'm warm.
The little kid from Christmas Story.
Absolutely.
That's what you look like.
Yes, and I walk like him.
And that was before you put the jacket and everything on.
Yeah, I used to have corrective braces, but thank you for bringing up painful. I didn't.
I'm sorry, Brent, for your fake past.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Nick, oh my gosh, we got so much to talk about today. If no one noticed, one of the big things we're going to hit here is Cyberpunk, which I'm super excited to talk about. But something else fantastic was dropped on us recently from a really, really large studio and producer of many, many films and now TV shows. Why don't you go ahead and give me the old rundown on that?
Yeah, so I thought when I first started looking into this that we were going to be getting pretty much just Star Wars and Marvel, but we got some little gems that I'm excited for. I'm nervous about because if they make it bad, it makes the first one not look, I guess, as appealing. But I have a list right here of some movies.
But is this Disney?
And let's talk about it. So, first of all, Disney Plus just announced, as you just said, a whole shitload of movies. And we got ourselves Indiana Jones 5.
Okay.
Which I know you feel the same way I do. You feel the same way I do about this. But there's a nice little silver lining. It's not being directed by Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
It's being directed. Okay. James Mangold, who directed Logan. That's who's directing.
Oh, that could be so good. Is it going to be like a reboot, or is this like a continuation of his stuff? Like, what's
It's continuation? I don't think Shia LaBeouf's going to be in it, but I think they're going to kind of loosely just kind of push that to the side a little bit. And I don't know if they're going to have the whole I'm getting old stuff, but
I mean, it's fascinating.
If I can see Harrison Ford directed in a proper way, I don't care that he's 76 years old. I would love to see another one.
I care a little bit, man. It's one of those things where I love the series so much, and the actor himself is just at an age where if they were to pass the torch, I like the idea of the actor passing the torch, right? Kind of what they did with Star Wars a little bit with Rey and that whole vibe, right? You kind of got the whole feeling. I would like that. I'd like to see that happen because I worry about Harrison Ford's health, just in general. Like, you're going to make this 76-year-old dude who is not like a, what's his name? Steve, who did Rocky Balboa? Help me.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, he's not like a Stallone, dude. He's not like a Schwarzenegger who's like been working out his whole life and stuff. You know, he's not like this jacked, now falling apart machine. He's just a general, like, kind of genuine actor, action guy, but he didn't ever have that physique. So I worry about his health in general, having to like, okay, you're going to go ahead now and make this jump. And it's like 3 feet. And I'm like, that could like fucking kill him. So let's not.
Well, he broke his ankle while doing The Force Awakens.
See,
but see, that wasn't his fault. It was like, he wasn't just running and then he fell and it goes, oh, I fall and I can't get up. He actually was walking through a sliding door and the door literally slid on his leg. And then J.J. Abrams thought, I'm going to pick this up like the mom does whenever the child's underneath the car, and I'm going to save you. And then he breaks his back trying to open it for him.
Oh my god,
So
unreal. But that's
yeah.
a concern though, right? Is that's one, and then number two, just in general, I want to see more Indiana Jones. Selfishly, I want more cool stories, and I want hopefully an actor I don't hate to pick up that torch. And I don't know, what do you think of that?
Okay, well, first of all, as long as they direct it, which is probably not going to happen because they're probably going to do the corny-ish kind of action-packed stuff, but if they could just understand that he can't do that kind of stuff, so what they could do is have a more personal story, kind of throw in the whole, you know, we don't live forever, kind of throw some personal demons and emotions in there and make a good actual somewhat drama that has still the same Indiana Jones flair. I would appreciate that, but they're probably going to have him doing backflips, and it's just, you know, I hope not, but they did that with Wolverine. They had some shitty movies that had him, it was over the top things that were kind of silly, bad story, but then all of a sudden they came up with Logan and it was all okay again.
Yeah, but I mean, you look
So,
at the actor there, right? Between the two, I mean, even Hugh Jackman still's not as old as, our sweet, wonderful Ford. I worry. That's all. It'd be cool to see. I'm excited. What
okay.
else we got? I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
let that die. I'll let it die.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Leave
Just,
it alone.
power to the Ford. So we have a few more. We'll talk about some in detail, and then I can just kind of skim through some. But I want to talk about stuff that I know that you're going to enjoy too, and the audience as well.
You get me when you're ready. You tell me, and then you just dive right in when you're ready on them. I'm ready. I'm listening.
All right, my friends. So if you guys know anything about comic books, they're making a series coming out. No, filming in 2021. Why the Last Man? I don't know if you've ever read the comic series,
Mm-mm.
but it is breathtaking. It's has the whole world, okay? Every single male species of every single, bug, animal, everything dies except one human man and one male monkey, and then the rest of the world is female. So it shows in a very elongated over time of what would happen if women ran the world, and then what would they do to these men if they found them. And it's really cool. It'd be like a post-apocalyptic but different.
Didn't they do that movie? What movie was that? There was a movie like that. It had dude who was in Shoot 'Em Up.
Was in Shoot 'Em
Clive
Up,
Baker or Clive Owen. Clive Owen. Yeah, it was like Clive Owen. Wasn't like a movie just like that, where he had to like transport some, or maybe I'm. Never mind. Just continue. We'll continue.
There was one where no, that was okay. I know what you're talking about. That's where women weren't making any more babies.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they had a baby, and then they were trying to carry it across the country because they knew that it was in
Children
danger.
of Men. Beck's got it. Yeah, Beck's got it in chat.
And
Children of Men.
and the funny thing is that is easily his best movie in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Maybe Sin City was an excellent movie, but him himself was in probably the best movie was that.
Yeah, as an actor, I would absolutely agree. Absolutely. Okay, continue. Sorry.
All right. So my next one, my friends, I'm gonna go quickly just run through some Star Wars ones to get it out of the way because we all know how much I hate Star Wars and I don't want to talk about it much.
Okay, make sure you're talking to the mic though. You're kind of off to the side. I want you at the mic.
All right, you got it. All right, so we got Star Wars Rangers of the Republic. Now, this is going to be apparently set in the same time as The Mandalorian, and it's going to be possibly about X-Wing pilots. I'm not sure about that. Then they're going to have Star Wars Ahsoka, which I would like to talk about that for a moment, if we may. What do you think about Rosario Dawson, by the way, Brent?
I'll be honest. I'm okay with it. I just don't know a lot about, like, I'm not super invested in that character. That's all. I'm just not.
So, Brent, I think the reason why that might be is I'm guessing you have not seen Clone Wars or Rebels, correct?
You're right. And I was gonna say my brother, yes, I bet $1 has a much greater opinion than I do on this because he loves Clone Wars and he loves Rebels.
Right. So anyone, Brent, that understands this character, they made a little movie back in 2006, I think, and it was the beginning of the Clone Wars with Anakin, and it was really dumb. It was really corny. It was very kiddish. and not in the way like, oh, Wally, like it was not that, it wasn't good quality. And Ahsoka was pretty much the main person and weak character. And then Clone Wars and Rebels came out, and this is years and years of character development from the one, the only Dave Filoni, and really fleshed her to be one of the fan favorites of the whole. And this is like comparable to like Darth Vader and that kind of Darth Revan and that kind of thing. So eventually, people kind of just begged for this to happen. So
Okay,
that's
so
what we're
so
getting
so
done.
it's got a backing somewhere that I'm just not familiar with, but it sounds like this is. And is this a live action? I'm gonna just take a shot in there. Oh, is all this live
Yes,
action?
live
Okay.
action. It's going to be with her again. And from what it sounds like, it's going to be her adventures and trying. The episode she was in, she goes, "Where is Thrawn?" In the Rebels TV show, Thrawn and Ezra Bridger, the main character, got lost, and they went through this weird like like flying whales in space. They went through like this weird like whale wormhole.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I think that this whole season's going to be pretty much her trying to find the Star Wars Rebels characters.
Okay. I mean, and I'm cool with that. From what I understand, Rebels was a kind of like this tucked away gem. It felt like within the Star Wars universe that people really, really like gravitated towards, despite it's like, and I say this politely. Obviously, it's kid nature, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes. Well, it kind of what it does is it starts off kind of kid nature, but then they start finding a certain rhythm, and it starts kind of showing a certain dark, better written, finalized, big picture kind of thing that's connecting everything to everything we know and making this much more symphony of a story. And Dave Filoni, the creator of all these things, he's been doing all those. And the reason why Mandalorian is such good quality is because he's doing that too.
And I think that's great. I think that'll be really, really cool to see then. I admit, I think it's cool to see more stuff. I want more stuff in the Star Wars universe. I really, really do. I just don't know enough about that particular one to really dive into it.
One good thing, though, my friend, is they are doing a TV show based on, for sure, the main character of Rogue One, not Jen, not the female, but the male Cassian.
Yeah, they're doing Cassian. I heard. Yeah, I'd read that.
Yes, and I think it's going to be during like them setting up the rebellion in the first place. He's going to be part of it in some degree.
Okay.
So I hope they don't milk it, but I mean, if you want, like we had that conversation a while back, if you want something that has that Rogue One spark, like that military-ish, that happens to be centered around the Star Wars universe, this hopefully might be the thing for you.
Well, and my only concern with that is, and this is, I'm like, what? Like, God damn it, Brent, just be happy with something. And this is my concern with that. I don't like prequels to things because I already know what happens. I understand Cassian as a character. I think they did a very good job displaying who he is and what he is. I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's why I'm not super invested in seeing a prequel about him, because sure, he's a spy, sneaky dude, and he has to like become a hardened kind of killer to become who he is to get all the way to Rogue One. But I know that. I don't care about that. I want new shit. I want more Mandalorian stuff. I want this one you're just talking about. I want stuff like that in the universe. I don't care about prequels. I think I'm maybe the outlier here when I say that too. But I really don't give a shit. I don't care about prequels. If I know how your story ends, we've already gotten to the end. I've already gotten everything I can get out of it as far as I'm concerned. I can see nice little tidbits or whatever, but nothing's going to shake the foundation of that character or drastically change anything. So that moment that's supposed to feel very special when a character comes to a crossroads in any pre-sequel, it's not. Because I know where they're going. You're not developing anything for me. You're showing me how they got there, which is great. But I know what they're going to do, so I've lost all the wonder of that moment. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And it also proves to me that you have the knack for debate, because you just said that since it's a prequel, you don't need that, but you destroyed me in our debate a while back about.
I wouldn't say I destroyed you. I just thought I yelled at you better than you yelled at me.
Oh, but I do get what you're saying, and I personally do not necessarily need to see that myself.
Mm-hmm.
But as you and I have talked very intimately, very many times, you don't necessarily need to have the Force or necessarily the lightsaber for a good Star Wars film. And that's sadly, I tend to flock that way. Now, luckily, Mandalorian did kind of change that,
Mm-hmm.
but it it also brought it back later on, but not in your face kind of way.
No, I think they did a great job. I think Mandalorian is a really
Yes.
good example. If you want to dive into the Star
Yes.
Wars universe, look at Mandalorian and say, hey, look, we're getting, and again, please no one yell at me, internet. We're getting a kind of fun, campy, darker bite of this Mandalorian society and stuff. And it's made so you can sit down and watch with your family, which is great. But I'm still watching like this guy develop a relationship with like a foundling that he sees as his son. And I'm watching this cool little, I'm going to learn hopefully about like Yoda's race and all about kind of, and I know there's plenty of that on the internet. I can go find it that way. I know, don't yell at me. I'm aware. I like seeing it in the film because I like experiencing Star Wars through film. It's how I've always known it. It's how I've preferred to consume that type of entertainment in that universe. So I'm good with that. And I think anything that is going to produce more Star Wars stuff from Disney, just, yeah, look at Mandalorian and say, okay, cool, Mandalorian's doing something. Let's do something of our own, like with Rangers.
Yes.
It doesn't entice me with
Yes.
Rangers, but I'm
The thing
excited.
though that makes me nervous though is I'm afraid that they're gonna, if they don't keep the quality the same, then it's gonna start kind of pouring garbage into the universe too. So what do you do about
Defenders.
that?
You know, Defenders, that's exactly makes me think of. I loved Daredevil in Netflix. I loved Daredevil. Out of all of them, Daredevil was so well done, I thought. Then we got Jessica Jones, and the only captivating part of Jessica Jones, the only part I gave a shit about, was Tenet, right? The dude was
David Tennant was the
fascinating. What a great character. Then we got Iron Fist and Luke Cage. And Luke Cage was great because of its weird corniness. I enjoyed the corny, campy weirdness of Luke Cage and how it kind of was a little aware of how silly it could be at times with his catchphrase and all that other stuff. But Iron Fist was one of those things where I went, okay, we're going to get like a really cool kind of kung fu vibe. And the main villain in there was also captivating. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was in 300. He's done a bunch of stuff. But we didn't. We got a bunch of very, very poorly shot fight scenes. Oh my God. The Iron Fist is one of the worst martial arts things you can watch to date with how poorly those were shot and done. You get weird speed up moments. You get these very close, you can't see what the fuck's happening, but apparently two guys are fighting, or you get these really dark, poorly lit areas. There is one standout moment, and I think it's in season 2 with Luke Cage and him. They go on like this awesome 3-minute excellent like showdown of this gang hideout. It's fascinating. It's so fun to watch, but it takes 2 seasons and it's 1 episode and it's 3 minutes. That's horrible. And that is my concern here with Disney. It's my concern with Disney because they have the budget to do whatever they want, just kind of like Netflix had with all the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And they produced 90% garbage minus, again, Daredevil and Punisher, in my opinion. The only 2 that I could go, oh, you know what you should watch?
Punisher, yes.
You should definitely go check out Punisher.
And my wife and I, we watched all of them, and the only 2 that she found to be pretty much, well, she loved Punisher, but she loves John Berthenol. I mean,
He's great.
Thought he was, I mean, and plus she has a little crush on him. Well, when, why not?
Yeah,
but she
do
just,
you not?
like whenever he just sits there and there's a part whenever he sees a fellow military man that he has to take down, but it's a military man. He sits there and he goes, stand down, and
the guy in the restaurant thing where he goes all ape shit. The guy living in the foxhole. Is that what you're talking about? Because I think that's him.
That's not. But that in itself, that whole thing, because you and I are veterans. Luckily, we didn't see PTSD like they would have saw it.
Mm-mm.
Our PTSD was sitting on a ship, being lonely and going
just
insane.
Furious.
Yes, and crying every once in a while because you just feel like you're in the middle of this ocean. You could be shot at any time. You could die, and all you want to do is go home.
Yeah,
that's all you want to do.
But watching, go ahead.
Oh no, as I said, but Punisher, that kid that we had to see that that experience, all that sadness and depression that he was going through, and then for him to kind of become the villain at the end, that just to be killed by the Punisher, it was tragic.
Yeah, and another thing, just to make the note, just to tie this kind of like analogy together here, Netflix has not, in my opinion, Chris and I talk about this and we differ a bit. I don't think Netflix produces a lot of very good stuff, generally speaking. I think they produce a lot
Yep,
of
I
stuff,
agree.
but I don't think they produce the good stuff. The
Their TV
Marvel,
shows, I would disagree with you there if that's what you meant, but the movies,
I'd
100%
say
agree.
just basically across the board, it's like a 60% win
Okay.
rate. It's not very great. But however, the Marvel stuff, they had this chance, I feel like. They had a chance to really say, and I think personally they did. I liked watching Daredevil. It's not the best show, but it's a show that not only did I get through it, but I would watch a season 2 for sure. I would
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
more of that. And then same with Punisher. And then watching them fumble 3 times back to back to back with Jones, Cage, Iron Fist was so painful. Defenders thankfully was able to keep my attention and watch those characters work shit out or work together in an interesting enough way that I made it through. So Defenders was okay as well. Despite Disney having the budget, I really am worried that they're just going to keep throwing stuff at us. People like Star Wars, make more Star Wars stuff. And in the end, we're just going to run either rinse, repeat in a cyclical nature on these Star Wars films. Look, they're a rebel. Look, there's bad stuff happening in the Empire. Look, they beat it. Look, they're a rebel. Look, round and round we go. And I think less sometimes is more, despite my desire for more in this universe. My desire is to give me consistent quality. So give me Mandalorian, and then maybe don't give me something for a year or two. Really focus on something special. Give me that so I know it's unique, I know it's special, and I know it's not just Disney Plus going, here, you want to watch your Star Wars show, nerd? Come give me the money so you can watch all the Star Wars we can pump out. It's my same concern with, like, the Marvel stuff they're going to create, right? I'm still worried that it's kind of a lot, despite how fascinating those characters might be. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And you can't win every time. You got to drop the ball at some point, right?
Yes. One thing though about Marvel, to talk about Disney streaming for them, is I will say that they're not playing it safe with the WandaVision stuff, and I am excited about that.
Crystal's really excited about that too. And the
I'm
more I look
nervous
at it,
that it's gonna be weird, but it looks
Weird,
like this.
yeah.
It's gonna be this weird Twilight Zone, like different realities, changing everything. I've heard that Tom Cruise might play a different version of Iron Man, and they might do stuff like that. If any of this stuff is going to be true, I am very excited for Disney Plus's future with Marvel as well.
that's bold. That's really bold. Okay, so real quick then, because I mean, we've been talking about this for almost 20 minutes, just to get
Yes, sir.
the kind of caught up on it. Disney Plus is going to pump out a bunch of new stuff.
Yes.
We're going to do Indiana Jones. We're getting some Star Wars stuff. Obviously, the Marvel stuff is coming. Is there anything else up on that radar that we should care about?
Yes. So there's a couple other things. We'll literally make almost no mental note of it. We'll just talk about it real quick. We got a Hocus Pocus 2.
Okay, why not? That was a dark
Why
show.
not?
That was a dark goddamn movie, so I'm down. I'm down to
dark
watch that
Disney-
again. We
dark
watched that.
Disney-ish,
Crystal had
yeah.
never seen that. We watched it this Halloween, and yeah, dark film. Very dark.
Perfect. We have, from what it sounds like, an Alien TV show, which I'm super excited about that.
Don't you have like a tattoo or something? I think of like a Star
I don't
Wars
know.
alien or something. Ah, there it is. There it is. In case you hadn't seen it yet. Oh my god. Why do you look like a single arm strip? No, it sounded like you're like a disabled stripper. You look. Never mind. Thank you for giving us that sensual left arm tattoo dance. I appreciate it.
And you're welcome to all the ladies and gentlemen that get to see that.
Yeah, they loved it. A+. The chat absolutely blew up.
All right. So one more thing that I want to talk about with the shows that I was excited to talk about. I'm not even sure if you're a fan, but they're doing like a 10 episode, 30 years later type of Willow TV show.
I'll tell you this. My introduction to fantasy and stuff, Willow was involved. But, and this is how shitty of a child I was scared of Willow because of the different size people. I didn't fully understand anything about, like, that stuff. And it was not a thing that sat well with me, and it's not something I went back to ever. I'm interested, because, though, now, as an adult, I recognize it for what it is. I'm interested to see that universe and see things brought to light more. It'd be neat to find out more about it. Now, yeah, I'd say I'd at least look at it.
It's funny, Brent, you say that because my wife, Araceli, had a very similar thing happen where she saw Little People, and it was kind of just kind of strange, and it kind of sat with her strange, and it made, some of the experience strange, but she's excited to watch it. She loves, Warwick Davis is Leprechaun.
Oh my god.
the main Ewok in Return of the Jedi. But Leprechaun, I would say, in my opinion, is probably his best performance because he's so,
Dude,
I don't know, he's
Leprechaun's
so
wild.
likable.
Yeah, wild. What a wild fucking horror movie. You can sit down and watch Leprechaun and be scared and also like crack up genuinely. It's what a wild film. Crazy. If you haven't seen Leprechaun, sit down and watch that shit. It's nuts.
It's finger licking good.
Oh my God, hate you. Hate you. Yeah, I'd be excited to kind of see where all that goes. I think Disney Plus has greed enough at the helm that they'll be very carefully, hopefully, to make more money in the best way they can to produce solid content consistently. That's my hope. That's my prayer. I do think one of these, though, is going to be the one where we all go, because at this point, you're due to strike out. It's bound to happen when you're...
Yes.
And I honestly think it might be Indiana Jones. Not to try and draw too hard on that. I
agree. No, I agree. I think that they should have stopped after the third one. And
Agreed.
I think, and to me, honestly, it has nothing to even do with his age.
Mm-mm.
It has to do with this. I mean, 'cause don't get me wrong, the stories have always been, fun and enjoying and entertaining. A little, silly at times, but we didn't care because there was a lot of stuff going on. But the fourth one just had no umph to it.
No, it
just
had no
silly,
nothing.
silly things going on, like the whole refrigerator thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insulting, and then he just kind of gets out and kind of like shakes off, and he's like, "Oh, that kind of hurt," and I'm like, "Well, no, I'm not. I don't appreciate that.
Why
at
are
all
all your bones not shattered right now?
Yeah,
How
why are
come?
you not like in like just muscles and bones at this point?"
Yeah, number 4 did that thing that I'm talking about. Number 4 said, people love Indiana Jones. Make an Indiana Jones film. Write some shit up. Make it a spectacle, and let's watch it. And despite the fact how bad it was it a spectacle? Certainly. Again, when he survives the atomic blast in a fucking refrigerator, so dumb, so stupid. But yeah, was it a spectacle? Certainly. And that's what I think. I think they're going to reach that point in Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones sits in his careful spot, I think, because of the age of the character alone even, right? When you're going back to that character, you don't want to watch a geriatric man go on a fucking adventure. It's not something you want to see because it's not necessarily an engaging thing. Now, if you go the route of an emotional story and we're telling the final tale of Indiana Jones in his final days, yada, 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 great. But at that point, you could just take that film and make something else. It doesn't have to be Indiana Jones. You can just take any film you want of a man going to bond with his family at the end or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't feel right.
You could make it and change the tone of it. And like I said, keep a little bit of the charm that makes them all so great, but change the tone, have a little bit more of a this is final kind of approach, and give us a farewell. One thing I've always liked, and it's since the beginning of time, the only way to do it is if you want to send a character off in a good way, take them out with a bang, have them do some kind of sacrifice.
A heroic sacrifice, yeah.
That's how they should have killed Han Solo. They should have had him run into a big old starship and save the rest of it. He pretty much the character that one pink-haired lady, Holdo.
Oh, that was good. God, that was good. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it was good. That was one of the very few parts that was good about that movie.
Yeah. Thank God Jedi can just come back out of space. Sorry, I'm so mad about Leia. I'm so pissed off. Leia's death was perfect until they let her live. Leia's death was my favorite thing because it shocked me. And then she's just like, never mind, I am immune to the vacuum of space and I'm just going to go ahead and pass right on through. But I'm very tired now. I'm very tired. I would have been 1,000 times more emotionally invested had they blown up the front of that ship and Leia had died. I would have been screaming for blood. I would have been howling for it. But anyway, that's neither here or there. That's other stuff I'm mad about. But that's the point. I think you're right.
That would have been fine to do that as long as they would have had good enough writing to where it would have kind of all felt kind of complete to where it would have.
I thought it would have felt complete, right? Well, I mean, it's her son. Her son doesn't do it. But the people he has allied himself with would. And that's a huge, like, character decision. That's a huge character moment of, like, oh my God, I didn't do it, but I'm part of bad people, and I told them to kill my mom. To me, that wraps up. That sets us at this wonderful pinnacle for Ben then at that point to really be genuinely distraught. And we could see him really teeter on the edge of darkness. But we don't get that because for some whatever reason, Leia just says, I'm immune to space, and here I come. Sorry, I'm mad about it. I think it could have been great, and it had the moment.
You're right.
It had me.
You're
It had
right,
me
but
100%.
there was a lot of things. I guess I was so disappointed with how they treated Luke Skywalker's character.
Mm,
Everything else kind of was pale in comparison.
I'm with you.
I get what you're saying though. Princess Leia is as equal as of an important character, but I felt like Mark Hamill agreed too, but it sounds to me like everyone agrees that Luke Skywalker's character was the biggest mess up of the whole movie.
Agreed. Painful. Absolutely painful. Sorry, we'll go into that. Okay, so
All right.
we
Anyways,
clearly
guys,
have a whole
sorry,
bunch of stuff we got to yell about
get
later.
deep with Star Wars, and just it breaks my heart whenever I talk about
It's
that
so
film.
I know, and it's fine. It's fine. Moving on.
Let's talk about something that's gonna make us feel better. Like
yeah, let's talk about something.
Like a little Cyberpunk
Dude.
2077.
All right, for our
Okay.
little second segment here for what is current, what's happening. Cyberpunk 2077 released on the 10th of December, so it's been out for 5 days. And I'll give you guys a quick rundown, okay? The game tends to work on PC just fine. Those 3 movies don't exist. Uncanny Jingles in chat just said. That's awesome. So, Jingles, it's so good to see you, bud. We have Cyberpunk. It drops. And it's been delayed consistently a whole bunch. You play it on PC, you're having a great time, Garen. 90% chance you're having a great time. Things are going wonderful. If you are playing it on any system beyond PC, things are not looking so hot. It's buggy, to say the least, and I have an entire defense we could go into about that. But in the long story short, it's buggy, it's bouncy, it's weird, NPCs do funny shit, the game crashes, things go flying through the air, things explode for no reason, your character gets sent to space. It's a mess on consoles. Now, in retrospect, there should be something that should first off be noted. The game's development and process was aimed at like the newest set of consoles coming out. And that version of the game is not even out right now, technically. Right now, what you're playing is the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 versions on your PlayStation 5 and your Xbox Series X. So to condense that down for those who are thinking about it, you're playing the backwards compatible version on your new systems. So you're already playing a dated version, just flat.
I didn't know that, Brent.
Yeah, I learned that today, which is fascinating. Now, that being said, I think we need to talk about a little bit as far as CD Projekt Red doesn't necessarily get a jail out of free card because the game is broken. Okay, the game is it's pretty messy on console for a lot of people. That being said, I do think we all need to maybe pump the brakes on how mad we are, and we need to maybe like lean back and point at Red Dead Redemption 2. We need to maybe look over at GTA 5. We need to maybe look over at Skyrim. We need to, pretty much any other big open world game that has been released and moved a whole shitload of units tends to have the loudest part of the internet be the bugs that are released within like the first, iteration of the game.
So pretty much you're saying give them a break a little bit.
I'm saying I think most people, the 90% that have bought and are playing the game consistently and having fun, and the bugs are more funny than they are hampering, right? If you're having an
It's not
NPC
destroying the situation, then what's the problem?
Well, that's my point. If you have an NPC T-walking everywhere and being like just weird, like the model's not behaving correctly, but you can still talk to it, or it just walks around, it's a non-important character, that shit's, it's funny, and I get it. It shouldn't be in the game. Maybe I track, but it's not breaking the game. Now, for those who are getting these game-breaking bugs and all that other stuff, you're right. It's to a certain degree inexcusable, but I would like to know what portion of the internet am I hearing? Am I hearing 10,000 people saying, this game's fucking broken, and it's sold... By the way, also to note, Cyberpunk, this is just fun nerd shit, the most selling game of all time on pre-orders, this is just pre-orders alone, was World of Warcraft Shadowlands, okay? Cyberpunk took
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they took that, and I think they got 7.3 million, while it was Shadowlands had 4.3 million. But they took that in literally, it was like 5 days from being released. So you had Shadowlands come out, and then you had Cyberpunk, like literally back to back. And I think it's fascinating the fact that Shadowlands was massive. And also, Blizzard has been the runner in holding the biggest selling pre-order games. And this is PC exclusive also on top of it, right? The other one before that was Diablo 3, was the biggest selling pre-order game of all time on PC only. So it blows my mind that not only is Cyberpunk out there and it's from multiple consoles and everything, but in its PC pre-order, it has surpassed Shadowlands, the most anticipated expansion of World of Warcraft, 5 days after release. It's wild. Isn't that crazy? It's just nuts.
I had no idea. When I looked into it, pretty much what I found out that everyone was very much enjoying it. The small chatter about the whole PS4 and the Xbox One thing not working very well for him. But besides that, I've heard that it's like the new game that everyone is wants to beat.
It's a blast. And actually, Uncanny Jingles in our chat, I want to read this because I think this is literally the statement that needs to be said for it. He said, "I fully expect a game this big to be buggy. He beat it already and loved it. Gameplay was good enough to carry me through its bugs and all. I'll probably buy it again when I get a PS5 or a PC." And I think that is a huge statement. I think any open world game, if you're going to sit down and just go, okay, well, this game is just going to be 100% clean, nothing's going to go wrong with it, all these things are going to naturally work together, so on and so forth, so it'll be great, not to worry about, is asinine. You're just asking for trouble. You're literally saying they have tested this in a small environment of like 60 PCs, 60 consoles. That's the environment it's been tested on, and they went, okay, this is good enough, we can release it. And then they gave it out to the general populace where you have all these PCs, all these consoles in different states of play, time, and use. And again, you have a minimum of 7.3 million people playing the game on PC alone, and you're definitely going to run into weird shit. We're all going to experience very strange shit because that is a true test of like where does the game stand. Now, coming from the PC side, that's where I'm playing it. It's a fucking blast. It's so much fun. And it's not doing anything that is really going to, I think, shake up the industry by any means, or like be like, this is the new hot standard for an RPG because it does X, Y, or Z. I don't think it does anything like that. I think anybody who can play it can tell you that. What it has definitely done, it's really brought me into that enjoyment of a role-playing game again because I'm in a new universe doing things I never get to do. And that's the big thing I want to touch on about Cyberpunk is when's the last time we get to experience a good cyber world? Like a real cyberpunk, crazy, dystopian corporate future where we're all enhanced with cybernetics, like crazy steel fucking arms, awesome murder jumpy legs, blades in our arms. We can see through walls with our eyes. All this really cool, like, fanciful shit. I don't know the last time we got to a really Deus Ex, maybe Deus Ex would be my thing, but that...
Well, the thing, Brent, that I think what makes video games and the future of video games always so impressive is when you add more NPCs and you add more space and you add more direction, story within that big space, and then you really just get to see yourself just walking around, looking up around, seeing an actual world around you,
living in the city like that. Yeah. Oh, Nick, I gotta ask you. So, and because this is just, it's been chewing at me. You've played Skyrim.
Yes.
Did you ever have like a fanciful moment where you were your character to a certain degree? Did you ever feel that? Did you ever feel like as you're standing wherever doing whatever, talking to whoever you were doing, did you ever feel like you were that character? Like you were guiding that?
No, I don't think so. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't think it ever put me in the place where I was just like, oh, wow, what magical. But I did enjoy it though. Yes.
Now, let me ask you this. When you've played all the Mass Effect series, when you play the Mass Effect series,
I didn't play Andromeda because I didn't hear good things.
That's okay. We don't talk about Andromeda. We don't talk about. But when you played the Mass Effect series, especially like 2 and 3, and you got to make those conversation choices, did you feel more invested in just the individual character of Shepard?
Well, my first thing that would always happen is I would always pick my conversations that would lead to who I liked, right? Mm-hmm. But then what Mass Effect did that was always haunting is they would always make you choose someone pretty much to save and who to die. And that still to this day, I remember it was Mass Effect 2 where I had to leave, I forget their names, but I had to leave someone behind and they died with like all those little, what's the Reapers? What are they called? The little machines?
The ghoul-like guys. They're like all cybernetic little people. I know the part you're talking about. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But they, I remember you had to save one and kill one. And sadly, since I wanted to sleep with the girl, I saved the girl. And then I remember afterwards, the girl didn't even want to sleep with me. So I was really pissed off at my decision.
So I don't want to spoil it. You can save them all. That's just so you know, if you ever want to go back and you want, you can definitely do it. But this is what I'm kind of bringing up is the fact that I've played a lot of RPGs, and I've played a lot of nameless, voiceless RPG characters that are supposed to make me feel like I'm making choices, I'm this character, so on and so forth. Forever, I've never felt invested in that. For a very long time now, I haven't felt like, it doesn't ever feel like it's my character. I feel like I'm literally just reading the text and saying what's there, and I'm going forward, and I don't care.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, something amazing between Mass Effect and Cyberpunk, and this comes back to Cyberpunk a little bit, is Mass Effect I felt was the first game to really give me conversation choice that I wasn't saying, okay, I'm Commander Shepard, this was going. I felt like I was in a movie writing the script almost and saying, okay, Shepard's character, this character is beginning, you've done a lot of dark shit. You've been like very aggressive. You've been very militaristic. And so now your conversation choices are kind of leaning in this militaristic way. And I find myself developing the character for this game in these ways that I find myself playing it. And Cyberpunk has done this amazing thing for me personally that I am just... When I first started playing, I didn't care at all what was happening, to be honest. It felt very Skyrim-ish to me at first, where I was just going through the motions, doing whatever, because they did a very clever thing where it starts you out and sets you up in an established world, and you are an established person. You get a nice little video of you doing some stuff, saving people, beating people up. You're a real kind of like mafia enforcer type guy almost for all the activities you're doing, but you're like more like a mercenary PI is the best way I can describe it. After a series of events unfolds and you really actually get put into the game, like you're actually finally like, you have purpose now all of a sudden, the voice acting and that character suddenly became so genuine and so real to me. And now every time I'm listening to myself communicate with all these different like fixers, which are like mercenary contractees, contract hirers, where they're like, I have a problem, I'm going to reach out to you to fix it there, mercenary, but I'll get the biggest cut because I'm your fixer. Does that make sense? That's kind of the development. But each one is so unique. You have like this cool, like old, serious, very crafty, like what's the Japanese gang? Help me. The Yakuza. Like a Yakuza-esque kind of fixer. She's just very kind of smart and mean and to the point. You have this like ex-police one, and you get to do all these like crazy kind of things, and she's much more emotional, and she gets kind of upset if you go and you do these things aggressively. It has these really awesome flavors of as you play through it and as you behave in the world and as you invest in the conversations. I am fascinated to hear more of what I get to say. I want to see where all this develops and why. And I haven't felt that way since Mass Effect, genuinely. And this one, I like it even more because the voice acting is becoming more and more impactful. And this is, and I don't want to spoil a big point here, but you kind of start to become two people. And with that being said, all your time spent with, everybody knows Keanu Reeves is in the game. You get to hang out with him. A bunch of really cool shit happens. Spending time with Keanu Reeves at first, I hated it because I was like, this is so dumb. I hate where this has gone. I don't like it. I don't care. Every time he pops up now, I'm like, oh, Keanu, say some more stuff. Tell me how you feel. He is fascinating, and it's so cool to have a game finally grab me by my throat and go, I know what you want to do for the next 6 hours. You want to play more Cyberpunk. I have 40 other things I could be doing, but I really want to sit down and play Cyberpunk because I want Keanu Reeves to say more nice things or mean things to me. Be mean to me. Beat me up, Keanu. I don't care. And despite its faults, I love it.
I heard that they also had it to where every decision you made would literally affect the rest of the story.
That's what I keep hearing. I spoke with...
You pay 6 times over, you get 6 different, endings, and 6, like you have a person who you were mean to in a mission, and then next time you see them, if you were mean to them, this whole new situation happens that causes another situation. But that's what it's all about, I think, right there. Like the whole choose your own adventure, but there's actually going to be consequences, and that is what I think sounds very sexy for future gaming in the first place.
Oh, I agree. And then to dive into just this side of like the universe, to see all this cool, again, a place we don't ever get to hang out. And I think the next thing, just on that note, is, we've had what is our good futuristic stuff that we actually get to hang out in these worlds ever so briefly? I mean, the only thing I can think of literally is Blade Runner. It's the only
Blade Runner,
films
both
I like.
Blade Runners, luckily.
Yeah, it's the only films I like to go into and see that weird corporate mega world. And even though it makes me feel bad,
it's not a happy world that they live in.
And by the way, Cyberpunk, Jesus Christ, another great thing about this game is the risks it takes to let you know that world is bad, to let you know that it is a cold, uncaring, damn near lawless, take the law into your own hands and do whatever you fucking can to survive world. It is brutal. There are like 3 or 4 quests I've already been on that are just in passing, just normal stuff that I'm like, I feel so bad for the scenario that is unfolding And I haven't even done anything. I'm not even being a bad person. I'm just understanding what happened and I feel empty. It is intense. And thank God that we can have that. We can have serious, real, painful stories that still don't just like make me want to just hang the game up, because there's still enough in there where I'm involved and I feel like I'm being a hero, that I want to come back, because next time that story comes up, maybe I can catch a bad guy and I can snap his neck before the horrible shit happens. Maybe I can be impactful, and I feel impactful sometimes. And I want more. Nick, I want more movies like that. I want more games like this. I want to hang out in Cyberpunk. Give me more.
Oh, you know, it's just gonna be a matter of time before you get some more of that. For real though, for virtual reality kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just 10 years less maybe.
I mean, it's... And I don't know what you
Yeah.
think about that universe. I don't know how do you feel about spending time in like the Blade Runner world? How do you feel about
First of
spending
all,
time?
Blade Runner itself, Ridley Scott. People forget that Ridley Scott, the director of Blade Runner, directed Alien and Gladiator and Black Hawk Down. I mean, this is a genius of a man right here. And I remember watching Blade Runner, and Blade Runner itself had very poor reception when it first came out for a while actually, because of its slow pace, its oddity of kind of a story. And to this day, it is one of the most beautifully haunting movies I've ever seen.
Oh, it's great. It is such a slow burn, but at the same time, I think what's so cool
Mhm.
is that it's noir as well, and I think that's fascinating. I
Oh,
think
good, yeah, good point. It
I
is very noir. It's very very like 30s or like hey 20s or something like
yeah, that
I was
juxtaposition.
gonna get him. Yeah,
Yeah, of like, hey, this feels like I'm watching a 1930s detective film. It's all smoky and everybody's got a secret,
Dick
and it's
Tracy. Right,
yeah,
right.
right. But then I'm in a place with flying cars and all this weird, side street vendors and neon lights everywhere, and in this very sexual society, constantly about like
Mm.
self pleasure and always like seeking kind of that edge. And yet at the same time, I have this slow, tantalizing burn where you're barely giving me snippets of what I want. You're giving me just the barest hint of what's coming. And to watch the character figure it out, especially, again, watching Harrison Ford, it's always fun to watch Harrison Ford. And it's really fun to watch him when he can be serious, when he can really grind his teeth and like be that rough, tough kind of guy. Not just a fun, campy Indiana Jones. We get a few where he is a harder edged individual, and I love those. And
There,
Blade
there's a,
Runner
there's
is,
a
oh,
yeah, there's a part, Brent, that you see you see Harrison Ford getting his finger like squeezed and broken, and you see him like in pain, and it's very rare when you see like that kind of thing that makes you just go ugh. And then not and from the same guy, the villain of the movie. I mean, I think it's point of view who the villain of the movie really is,
mm-hmm.
but that's the beautiful thing about the movie too. But the villain, the main robot guy, which by the way, I could talk about him for a while. What an interesting character
Dude, that's
he is.
synthetics. Any time you dabble in what makes us human when you're a robot, is it
Mm.
human? Is it? Oh my god, forever. I can chew on that till the cows come home.
Whenever his whole goal was just to to keep his life to go longer, because he found out that he actually is going to die soon, and so he literally the whole epic rest of his quest is to find out how to preserve his life more. And I'm thinking, well, that's more, you're very human then, man, because that's how we all feel.
Yeah, we don't
Else
want to die.
yeah, and we're trying to search for our little medicines and stuff, but at the end of the day, mortality is 100%. And it shows at the very end how he's holding that bird, and he's kind of petting the bird, and he's talking about how life is short and beautiful and tragic and somber, and it's just that beautiful. I think it's Rucker Hauer. I forgot. I don't know how to say
Mm-hmm.
his name, but he delivers that beautiful little
Monologue.
monologue, and
Yeah.
it just closes the whole thing to being just a perfect movie. That dystopian, disgusting smog movie that you never want to live in, but you look at it and you're like, what a beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of those things too. I think what makes it really good too, my friend, is you could tell that the people who made the movie were trying to think, okay, let's not just make everything all technology. Let's make everything dirty because we're dirty people and we're going to destroy this world. So let's kind of add that flair in there too, and just add this kind of disgusting, like, I don't trust you, you don't trust me. We would rather watch technology stuff and instead of interact with other human beings. It's disgusting, but it's beautifully done.
I love it. And I think it speaks a lot to I think there's a lot in human nature being said there when we look at the extremes that goes to. And I think it's just so fun to bring up the Blade Runner to the Cyberpunk thing because I think it's heavily, and before I yell at it again, I know Cyberpunk was a board game. I think it was a full-on RPG. I'm not that versed in its history. What I do know is being in this game and playing around in this world and running around doing all this other stuff draws so many cool similarities between Blade Runner because they both really rely on that the corruption kind of humanity, of when greed and when excess is at its limit and when we become better and stronger and faster and everything else, and then to watch that, well, only the elite become better and stronger and faster 100%, you can have these knockoff parts and you'll go for the knockoff parts, you'll go for the knockoff stuff because you want to be... Watching that cyclical nature of just wanting to exist and be so personally self-fulfilled but in the wrong way is always so fascinating. And again, the character you play as does the same thing. Everything you're doing is for credits, is for money, is for status, is to make sure that, you're taken care of. And so you'll kill, fight, intimidate, whatever you have to do to make that name for yourself, to secure your history, legacy. And that's a big theme also at the starting is you and your best friend often talk about what do you want to be at the end of it all? Do you live fast, die young, but people remember you? How do you solidify a legacy, especially in a world like that? And I think that's another fascinating thing that Cyberpunk does so well is letting you subconsciously find your character's motivation to do that. I think it does a really good job of, they talk about it very rarely, and then when it does come up, I can see all my actions leading to that. I can see the things I'm just doing in passing, besides I'm getting money and gear and whatever else. It's still the same thing that in my head I'm doing. I'm getting the money and I'm getting the gear to be stronger, to be faster, to be better than my adversaries in the game, which at the same time fulfills that little prophecy of being better in the world itself, as if that character existed, as if I was that character in that world. And I think that's cool, right? That it's literally a game-based mechanic that lends itself to the world you're in. And it's just, it fascinates me. And I think the direct relation between the way, especially the new Blade Runner with Ryan Gosling and everything, how that panned out and how that felt. I just want to push both Blade Runner and Cyberpunk together and watch them make the most fascinating film baby of our times, because I think it would be so awesome to take the visual...
Would that be like a Borderlands movie almost?
No, and that's... Someone mentioned that they thought it was kind of like Borderlands, and I think it's
it's not like Borderlands.
I think it's so far from any of the Borderlands stuff. It's hard for me to draw the comparison, but I want whoever made the new Blade Runner to look at Cyberpunk and go, this city is fascinating, and we can tell another Blade Runner-esque story, but we can tell it here, which gives us a bit of new flavor, because the other good side, I think, of Cyberpunk is the extreme excess is everywhere. The advertisements are so, oh my God, Nicholas, it is like just watching an X movie in passing. It is so sexual. It is so exaggerated. It is so intense that oh my God. Just for an example, you'll walk around town and you'll hear a girl just moaning just so loudly. And I'm like, and it was doing it all. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Do I have an adult window open? I forgot about what the hell is this? And you look and it's just like a preview for it was like MILF something, and MILF Protector, MILF something. It's just this weird commercial. I don't even know what it leans into, but the idea that could just be in passing in any advertisement, in any part of the city, anywhere, is fascinating and terrifying a little bit. And to think
it adds atmosphere to what you're doing, which adds more realism, which adds better game.
And so you add excess to that, and then you take that excessive world, while we have the Blade Runner world, to me, is more bleak and more contained, right? Everybody's on their own little contained personal struggle that they all suffer in silence. Well, now we flip that just a little bit. No one is suffering in silence. Everybody is suffering, but we're also to the extreme, right? We're to the extreme of everything sexually. We're the extreme of everything in violence. We're the extreme of everything in their media. One of their big things that I think this would be cool in film is called a brain dance. And basically what it is you just live someone else's memory. Now, if you think of that...
Rick and Morty did that.
Yeah, there you go. Now think of that, right? But now think of someone their last moments of existing, of being murdered. And you're going to live their last seconds. You're living right there. It's weird, right? It's intense. But that's Cyberpunk.
But that's something that someone would be happy to do, because it's a rush.
It's a rush, and it's an extreme again, right? It's a sexual or a whatever extreme it might be. And it's that concept. It's that idea that I want to see a film tackle. And I think we were close with what was the Netflix show? It was a futuristic thing. Altered Carbon.
Upload.
Altered Carbon
Okay, yeah.
was close. It was really close to Cyberpunk in my opinion as far as film and media go in that way.
It was definitely kind of noir a little
No,
bit.
oh yeah, absolutely. I think you
I can't say it very well, but yeah.
and I think Cyberpunk definitely has a noir. As you're developing through the main story, it becomes very like not necessarily full on detective-y, but as much as it's like, okay, you got to be clever and smart about this, and you got to. It's a slow burn for each kind of quest, and each one you do, which is really that I really like for the main ones. It kind of builds the stakes slowly but surely to at the point where like I'm at the point where I have like two things, and I'm like, what if I do one of these and I can't do the other one? Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. So like I have them sitting there and I don't want to touch them, but that's how good it is. It is slowly built the development of these characters that I've met. And now I don't want to lose any of them, but I know I have to lose some of them, but I don't want to make a bad call. And give me that world. Show me film. Tell me stories. Be kind to me because these are really intense, excessive things. They're bad. Fuck, are they good though? My God, they're good. And
break you down and build you back up. That's what they're doing here.
And that's my run through on Cyberpunk for you guys. If it made any sense, it was probably just a lot of impassioned me screaming about how much I love it. The game has its flaws on current consoles. Certainly wait if you can, but if you really want something special, something unique, just in the way of you want to experience a new RPG world, you can't go wrong. You can't. It's fascinating, Nick. I love it.
Give us free stuff, game.
Give us more things, more time, more energy. Please, Nick, we have two more things to do. One more to talk about. Yep. We did a movie of the week. What did we do again? The hell did we have to watch?
Well, what we are doing is we need to talk about a little bit Batman and Robin.
Batman, George Clooney. What was the guy who played Robin? What the hell is his name, dude? It's the only film he's ever done, isn't it?
No, Chris O'Donnell. He did a little bit more. He did. Oh, geez. Well, you know what? I mean, he did more, but.
Okay, there we go. But yeah, I want to say what I said last week holds true for me, rewatching that film. Number one, I drifted in and out of it 100%. I was part of it, and then my brain, I grabbed my phone. I said, because it's awful. Oh, God, it's bad. Nick, it's so bad. It's a bad film. I can't. I can't.
Yes.
But I will say the extremes that the film goes to with Poison Ivy, the extremes it goes to with Bane, the extremes it goes to with every character is kind of fun. In a weird way, it is fun. And honestly, the props and the set design, Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, with all the like aluminum looking blue light, everything else.
It was pretty to look at for sure.
Yeah.
It was very much spectacle. Yes.
God, is it neat to look at? Yeah. Oh, it's awful, but God, if you could just take snapshots of it, it's great.
The whole movie is very pretty to look at. It's like watching a Transformers movie. You're entertained completely eye candy wise. It's just you're also like thinking, well, I mean, I just had Batman Forever, which was a little bit better than this, and then before that, I had Batman Returns, which is a little bit better than that. And okay, we're just going downhill now. So
yeah, takes.
But at the same time, though, it was fun because you're watching this, and we've had good Batman movies now. So I feel like I'm okay. I'm healed. Like I remember watching this and seeing George Clooney, which I like George Clooney, but first of all, and this may sound weird, but he doesn't look like Batman.
No.
He may look like a Bruce Wayne, but he just didn't have that Batman look. And then the gimmicks, remember the credit card that we saw?
Oh God, at the bat
the bat card. Yeah, it was I get what they were trying to accomplish with it. It was funny for a moment, but then it was kind of insulting after that. I was like, oh well, that's just kind of telling me that you don't give a shit about your audience. You're just being silly and stupid. And even though you might be trying to go more Adam West style, this is kind of a slap to.
It's extreme.
Yeah,
it's so extreme. It's shit. It's like you just said. When I see the joke, I'm like, ha, and then I think, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And it feels like the writers and the go, we know it doesn't make sense, but it was funny, right? So it's good. Watch the damn film. It's like, no, hang on, that's just dumb, and I don't like it, and now I'm mad that it's in there. That's exactly how I felt when I saw it again. I forgot the bat card was a thing. I totally forgot the bat. Oh my God.
There are things too that Poison Ivy, Uma Thurman, which I wouldn't say she's a phenomenal actress or anything, but she was so over the top that like I said, it was like watching one of those movies that are so bad that it's entertaining. She was just like that, where you'd see her, she's like, I'm gonna kill you. and it was like watching a 50s horror movie. It was just weird.
Cringe. That's the term.
Yeah.
I can't help but.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was fine because he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
Hmm.
and I wasn't expecting him to be like, Shakespearean or anything like that.
No, but then and out of everything in the film, Schwarzenegger in the weirdest way has the best story or plot. You know, screw it.
And he's the most charming out of everyone, I would say.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so it's like as far as that horrible film goes, if anybody did good in it with a recommendation of like this dude wasn't shit, Schwarzenegger gets that. Everybody else is so cringeworthy, and Schwarzenegger, even his cringe stuff though, is fun. His chill out, it's fun in a weird, dumb way. It doesn't get the same shit on it that Uma Thurman gets, and that Clooney gets, and that Robin. They're all so bad, and I can't laugh at their cringe. I can just be sad. Every time I saw Schwarzenegger, though, I just went, there he is. There's the guy. he's going to come in with another zinger. Let's go.
I agree. And it's going to be silly, and I don't care because I'm used to Arnold Schwarzenegger's silly little zingers anyways. He's been doing it, all of his whole movie career, and even though it's been corny since day one, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Somehow it's endearing in that particular film. So, what do you say? How does that film rate for you now? All right, in the past, right? If I had been more movie critique caring, and even when I saw it, I was young, but I went, "This is bad." Even now, where does that land on like your radar of Batman films? Is it still like, oh my god, don't ever make me again, stab my eyes out. This is the worst film. We'll never get another Batman film because of this film still, or like you said, you seem like you've maybe lessened your criticisms of it.
Well, I'm still going to go and agree with my initial, because like I said before, every single Batman movie I've ever seen had something pretty much decent to offer. Batman Forever was kind of the start of a little bit corniness, but at least it had like a certain edge to it where you see him talking to a therapist, and it's kind of like it's kind of like this whole the dark side of Batman and trying to like incorporate love into it. And you have the Kiss from the Rose song that was really popular in 1995.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He married Heidi Klum, by the way. Good for him.
Dude, Seal does not bebop around. That dude's got it going on. I don't know. That guy gets it. Okay. Sorry. Sorry.
No. It's astonishing what I remember thinking that, and and of course that was at the time I was like, oh, well, she's so pretty and he's Seal, but love is love. But anyways, I don't love this Batman movie. I think it is the worst. I would say if I had to put an order, it'd probably be the bottom, the very bottom.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought my criticisms, and I personally picked this one. I recommended we do this one because I thought the campy corniness would be kind of a nice juxtaposition to our current realm of dark, brooding, mean Batman. But I regret that. It is so extreme. It hurts. It's so extreme. It's dumb. It's funny. I think about the Batman Arkham games. That all these characters
that spoiled me. That spoiled me.
Oh
so
yeah,
much.
And you think about that game, and yet all the characters, even though they had their extremes, they had Two-Face was very Two-Face, right? He was what you would call like the classic Two-Face to a certain degree. Same with Harley, same with Joker, same with everyone. And yet somehow we've finally gotten to the point where they're writing these characters in a fascinating, fun, and dark way that we love it. While we went back to that campiness, and I remember as I'm watching, I'm just going, nope, this film should be forgotten. It's okay. It's okay to just tuck this under the rug, and when we talk about Batman films, we don't mention Batman and Robin. We don't say anything. We don't mention it. We don't even remember it. We just cut it out of history and we call it square. That's how I feel about it. Awful.
I like it.
Oh, we can keep all the Arnold Schwarzenegger parts, and we could just claim it's a Sundance film of Mr. Freeze. Just call it that and call it good.
I like it. And on an Arnold Schwarzenegger note, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I met him, Brent. Did I tell you that?
Are you kidding me?
I was working at the airport in Rifle, Colorado, and he was coming out in a car, and he was wearing a leather jacket with a United States flag in the back.
What else would he wear?
And he walked over to me, and I took his luggage. And of course, this is, and I hate saying that any celebrity is my hero, but he would definitely be the hero. And I take the bags from him, and he goes, "Thank you for helping me." And I'm just wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you. Now we all are lesser people because that didn't happen to us, and you are now our king, and we must worship you as such.
As well, you should. He touched me.
Well, look.
Well, let's go ahead and do this little topic of the week next
Yeah,
week.
for next one. So how does this work, Nick? Break it down. This is
All
new.
right.
So what are we doing?
Yeah, we're gonna keep on trying to incorporate new things, guys. And what I want you to do, everyone listening to this, please, 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 I'll give you two options. Either put it in the comments about a topic that you want us to talk about, and we would love to do that. We would love to, or send that at our channel, which would be the Nerd Podcast at gmail.com.
Is it the Nerd Frenzy podcast? Sorry.
The Nerd Frenzy podcast.
Okay. The
Could
Nerd.
you imagine if we were able to get that one?
I know, right? Oh my God. The Nerd Frenzy podcast at gmail.com. You can send us your recommendations. We will gladly go over them, and hopefully we will get to them very shortly if you guys send us any. If there's anything you want to hear, tell us in chat, or you can, obviously, if you're in our Discord right now, you are welcome to go into Discord and say, hey, by the way, we'd love to listen to this on the Nerd Frenzy podcast. Again, one more time, Nick, what is that email?
The Nerd Frenzy Podcast at gmail.com, my friends.
Perfect. All right. So this thing in the hat is...
All right. And the hat of the week is my stockings that I'll be using. You're welcome, everyone.
That is as Vader as it gets. Thank you so much for having a Darth Vader.
Vanna White the shit out of this.
Yeah, you should. That's beautiful. That is 115%
All right.
wonder. Right.
So
get something good.
What I did, everyone, is I called Brent and I said, Brent, send me some topics that you'd love to talk about. I'll put some in. I asked my wife for a few, and I would love to get some from you guys, like we just said. And I'm going to put it in here or put it wherever I put it next week and the week after and all that jazz. And we'll pick it. And then for that week after that, we will start talking about that. That'll be our like little 30-minute part of our conversation.
All right.
So
I'm ready.
Here we go. The first one.
Possibly go wrong.
I know. And the thing is a lot of the stuff I did myself. You have no idea. So you're going to be like, oh, okay, cool.
Great. Here we go.
Yeah. This is about my family, Brent. So
tell me how great we all are, please.
So yeah, all this is going to be pop culture kind of stuff, everyone. It's going to be music, movies, pretty much what we talk about anyways. But yeah, let us know anything you want. A lot of paper in there.
You're really digging. That's full on. You're full up inside that deeply. That there's a lot of sex jokes to be made here, but we're polite people and we're going to be good people and not animals.
The dropping of the sock. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. We have monster movie comebacks.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
One of Brent's. One of Brent's.
So to just on an ending note here, you guys, when I talk about monster movie comebacks, to me, it's we have the rise right now of, we had Kong and Skull Island. We had Godzilla. And we had a few terrible Kong movies years ago, and we don't talk about those. Same with like in 2000, there's a really odd Godzilla movie.
I liked them, but yeah.
I liked them, but now that I've been spoiled, I'll tell you this. I can talk forever about the first Godzilla and the new Kong. I can talk forever about them, and now we have King Kong versus Godzilla coming out, and it's going to be direct in your house. You're just going to be sitting on your ass, and it's going to come on TV, and you're going to watch it, and it's going to be great, and I can't wait.
This is like, what is this, Brent? Like, King Kong was the 30s, and I believe Godzilla was the 50s or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is like 60, 70, 80 years in the making.
Yeah, and now they're coming back with they're doing like these really cool horror cliches where they're like making us not see the monster, but we're so engaged to see the monster revealed, and even though we know what he looks like, they're doing fantastic large-scale destruction that is so detailed at a level that it feels right now. It feels good. We're seeing some real power from these creatures, and they're moving in very realistic ways, and there's just so much, I think, to unpack. And they're fun movies, too.
Brent, how are they going to be able to make this movie great without just going purely off of nostalgia?
Oh, my God, dude. Honest to God, you just look at what you did with Kong. Like, literally, you look what you did with Kong. Kong had this wonderful, and we won't go too far, but Kong had this wonderful thing where it was people surviving monsters. That's it. And Kong was thankfully the only monster that just didn't want to eat people. That was it. It had a balance, and it had a it had a cycle, like a nature cycle to it, right? You had a cool little revenge thing they kind of tuck in there with Kong, but collectively, Kong had a natural, Kong was something's natural predator, so to speak. And everything on that island that the people went through, and like the cool weird bugs that were just like the spider things, the cool like little tribes of people that live there, and the cool history of this lost world. You just need to go, okay, we have already introduced the idea now. We live in a world and in a universe where Godzilla and Kong exist, where Mothra exists. We live in this world. So what are the stories? How do humans live in this world? And then how do we deal with it when these creatures come to blows? What is the next big threat or the big thing, the natural apex predator that needs to assert itself now to challenge these two? I think if you literally just hold on to that consistent idea of like, what is the apex and how does that look? And our heroes being Godzilla, which apparently doesn't want to squish us because he's cool with that, and I'm fine with it. And same with Kong. He doesn't want to kill us and he's cool with that. So make a creature that doesn't care, and you will have us sold. And continue to give us the level of excellency you've provided, like in Kong, like in Godzilla King of Monsters. It's... Sorry, I go on forever, but if you ask me, you just reference those films and say, these are the things that work. Don't change them, and they will continue to work.
Perfect.
So,
and that's a little taste for next week, my friends.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is our time. We've been a little over. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I want to thank everybody in chat for saying what's up. We appreciate you guys so much being here. Generally, do reach out to us. Nick and I really are looking to make something very special and something personal for you guys as well. So we want to hear your thoughts, the good, the bad, the ugly. So reach out to us over at that email, thenerdfrenzypodcast@gmail.com. Reach out if you're in the Discord right now and everything. And as we progress, this show will only become hopefully more refined for you. And I am so excited, Nick, to keep spending just the quality time with you. I love you all that have sat down and watched this, but I honestly don't care. I just want to hang out with Nick. And I know you all want to hang out with Nick, but it's my time with Nick. So you just get to passively be around, okay? Not to be rude. Yeah, that's right. Hit him with the sass. But that's all. Nick, I've had an absolute blast, man.
I have too, my friend. I love doing this every Tuesday, and I hope that it will go on for a long time, my friend. And that's the ultimate goal of this, my friends, is I get to talk to Brent. And as you all know, Navy buddies, and we get to nerd out with you. So please send us anything you want at the Nerd Frenzy Podcast at gmail.com. We'll see you next Tuesday, my friends.
Have a good night, you guys. All right, we're out of here. Bye.